CEO and just an overall pretty cool guy, some say, or myself.
That'd be great.
And this is my opportunity to introduce you to Matt English, my old friend. You know, we met as fucking interns.
Oh man.
By the way, you're allowed to curse. This is my channel.
Oh, good. I can be myself then.
Yes, be yourself, please. We were freaking interns at a company that will not be named, the Fortune 500. Yeah. And geez, it's great not to work there anymore.
Oh man, yeah. Tell me about it.
Lovely, and so now you're here. You've become you've built your career at up to six figures at the time. And what I've always loved about Matt from the start is he would show up in a room and just ask like the most potent, powerful, quality questions from the start, and that served him really well in his career as an entrepreneur, mastering sales, and we just jammed on this the other day. The ongoing mastery of sales, dropping limiting beliefs, and now being a real estate entrepreneur and investor, and doing all of that in just in the last 18 months. So, of course, we've met many years before that. Actually, it's been, geez, how many years has it been? It's 20.
Oh man, 7 years, man.
7 years. Yeah,
I had to. Yeah, 7 at least.
So welcome, Matt. Geez. I don't know. Let's just dive right in, brother. What lights you up these days? What is your passion these days? What are you up to?
Yes, man. So my name is Matt English. I'm a real estate broker. I'm a real estate consultant. I'm also a realtor here for Denver metro area. And yeah, man, like Miro said, I started my career off. I graduated from Auburn University. My degree is in hospital administration. And just found myself really just kind of going down the typical cookie cutter route of just trying to plug myself into a good 9 to 5, just work really hard, get my retirement squared away, and just not piss anybody off along the way. And that's kind of the mode that I was going in. But I realized early on that just something wasn't clicking, and I didn't know if it was just that I was new and I didn't know the role yet, and I wasn't comfortable with just progressing and at the rate that I wanted to. And so I tried to do the whole be patient thing. I tried the whole networking thing. I tried the whole, you try everything under the sun, but you kind of still feel that thumb pressing down on you. And so, yeah, man, I've worked with you at a Fortune 500 company that will not be named. From there, I got into private consulting for a while. And basically the brunt of everything that I've done basically is living out of a suitcase as a consultant, flying around the U.S., helping large hospital systems figure out different data models, different ways to rework their work structures or their workflows, and really anything they really needed. Also worked a lot with regulatory and compliance. And I kind of got to the point, Miro, where I kind of stood back about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, and I realized that there was something that was just out of place. I couldn't figure out what it was, like I said. And I realized what it was is that I cannot relate to my client. My clients were a bunch of physicians. They were nurses. They were radiology techs, scribes, X, Y, and Z. These people are in a place and space of thinking and blood and guts, right? And here I am, I walk in thinking in systems and processes, and it was really hard because I can never be proactive and I can never be the best consultant I could be for them. If I wanted to be, it was going to require me to go back to school to kind of learn more of the clinical side of things, which was not something I was willing to do because, frankly, I'm just not passionate about that. I've always been passionate about real estate ever since I was in, really graduate high school, early 20s. But it was a sales job to me, and I just didn't have the confidence or really the beliefs in myself that, I could go out there and make a living for myself. So, just like everybody, you kind of get backed into a corner when you're headed down the route that you're not supposed to be in. And I just got to the point, man, where I was just miserable. No kidding. I was waking up every morning, not every morning, but at least once a week. That's real. And I would just cry, dude. I was just so miserable. I would literally just I'd go in the living room and I'd just be thinking about the day I'd have ahead. And it was so miserable and so daunting to me that I just sit there and just break down and cry. And so finally at some point I was just you know what, this is not worth it anymore. And so at the time, about a year and a half ago, I was a client success executive at a startup here in Denver, and just moving, chugging along. And then we had kind of an unforeseen incident come up where basically, I was just laid off. The work kind of dissipated. The the company changed trajectory and path of where they were going, and they just didn't have any projects really to manage anymore. And so
Hmm.
at that point, it was like, man, you can do everything right and still get it wrong. And so at
Hmm.
that point, I decided, you know what? No more. I'm going to take control of this myself. I'm going to do something I'm passionate about. I'm going to go get my real estate broker's license. And so fast forward to today. Yeah, man, I'm a real estate broker. I have a team that I'm working to build out right now. And yeah, man, I love it. It's so much fun. Just being able to help people and see, the benefit that you're really putting into someone's life and the value that you're adding when you're able to really help them navigate the waters of what is usually the most expensive transaction of most people's life.
Hmm.
So, you don't want to get that wrong. And a lot of people are under this misguided belief that all realtors do the same thing and provide the same services. And let me just tell you, that's just not true. So I take my job very seriously. I love what I do. I love the people I work with. And yeah, man, thanks for having me on the show. I'm excited.
Yeah, for sure, dude. It's super pumped, man. There's so much gold and juice in what you share with me. Your story is so relatable. Like for me personally, we've gone through the same thing. Sort of the corporate grind, and being in a position that's not super aligned with like your own skill set, maybe skill set, but not your passion. And then finding the alignment in that, and then finding the alignment with the people who you're sort of meant to serve, where you can connect with them, have empathy with them, relate with them, and actually care more about them. And we love talking about sales, where and have this signature model, the matter model, and one of the elements of that is the R stands for, and the R in matter stands for relationship. And we talked about this. People don't care how much you know. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. When you really find your audience, your people that like, hey, they'll recognize, one, you're my guy, and two, you have this shared journey of breakdown and breakthrough, perhaps, where you care about them. Where you care about them not going through that pain.
So true, man. I mean, it comes out. You can't hide it. Commission breath is real. Like it
Oh, right.
really is.
Yeah.
It's so real. I mean, and you said it perfectly. Yeah, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care, right?
Yeah.
And another thing too is people want to do business with people that they like.
Yeah.
And that's so true too. And so this is such a relation game, man. It's
100%.
it really is. And the people who are out there and just trying to make a buck and just trying to make it such a transactional type of thing, they might do good, in certain stretches of their career, but at the end of the day, people remember that. They know when you're coming around just for something that benefits you, and they know when you're coming around because you're genuine, you want to help, you have value to add and provide. And if you're serious about that and authentic, it'll take you a long way.
Yeah. So I have a burning question for you, Matt.
Sure.
When you like quit your 6-figure corporate job, and somewhere along the way, like I feel like there's a number of challenges that come with that, and one is like just straight burnout from like pushing, doing too many hours, not really taking care of our health well and all that good stuff. And then there's this other thing where you're just like not doing what's for you, like you're not being aligned with your purpose, what your passion and all of that. So how much of your transition or in your experience was like in the column A, where it's your passion, or where it's just like the how we get to push ourselves sometimes too much. And because I just been talking to people about burnout, I've just gone through. I don't know where I'm at on my journey myself right now. It depends on the day. Today I feel on top of the world, but it could be different tomorrow. So like, how much of that, and so I know this is super relevant for lots of people right now that I'm talking to. So how much of that transition was just like straight, too much push, and how much of it was just like it was not aligned, like you were just not doing the right thing for you. And how would somebody know, like which column A or column B, right?
Yep.
So speak into that a little bit, because I feel like there are nuances.
Yeah, man, that's a great question. And I feel like it doesn't sound like on the surface level that it is obvious, but it's obvious. So what I mean by that is, so the difference between burnout and, I guess, to me, being productive, right? Like doing something and at the end of it, you're tired, but like you walk away from it going, okay, I made progress. And you're proud of that progress, you're happy about it, you're satisfied, and you're ready to wake up the next day and keep chipping away. What I noticed is when I was burning out, I was I was doing stuff that didn't fulfill me. I was doing things that didn't interest me, to be quite frank, and I didn't have a why connected. Well, I didn't have a real why connected to it. My why was to get a paycheck.
Mm.
But little, newsflash for anybody, there's a million and one ways you can make a paycheck. And don't stick yourself in the box of thinking, well, I'm only good at this. I've only ever done this, so this is all I'll ever be able to do. Like, no, it's just not true. I mean, it's just, I can scream into the microphone all day long, but it's just not true.
It's not true, everyone.
We have so many things that we can offer, and so many things that, if you've been in a career for a while and you want to change, I would just start by just like ironing out your why. Like, not why do you want to change, but like, what do you want out of life? Like, I mean, I told you this story, Mira. This is a really cool story. I was talking to a coach about 2 or 3 months ago, and he's telling me the story, and he's saying, yeah, I've got a few people that I'm mentoring right now. One of my mentees actually used to be a mentee of Warren Buffett. I was like, oh, this is fascinating. Tell me more. So he goes on to tell me that his mentee, who the previous Warren Buffett mentee, was fired by Warren Buffett. And so this guy comes to, his name is Doug, and Doug's, comes to Doug and says, Doug, or I got fired by Warren Buffett. I really want to go back to him and continue my mentorship. But, he says, until I figure this one thing out, he's not going to ever come back and help me. And Doug says, well, what is it? And Warren Buffett wanted this guy to be able to articulate his why in 3 words. Which is like, I thought I was good because I had mine down like 15, 16, 17 words. I kind of had like a mission, vision, kind of statement. But Warren Buffett is like, no, get that thing down to 3 words. And the guy couldn't do it. And so he fired him on the spot and told him, come back whenever you have your 3 words and you can articulate those 3 words to me pretty well. And so I just thought that was like fascinating. And I think that's such a impaired place you got to start. Because if you don't have that why, you're going to burn out so quickly, and you're not ever going to be able to attach what your actions are doing to something that's bigger and better than yourself. And so when I'm sitting there and I'm making cold calls, and when I got to go door knock, and whenever I got to do these things that I'm going to potentially face rejection, it's so easy to get inside your own head and say, well, 10 people have turned me down. What's to say the 11th person isn't? What's to say the 11th person is not going to be a $15,000 commission? I mean, it's just, we can. It's so easy to get in our own way. But I think when you have that why, if you put that in the front of your perspective, it really does. Like the times that you're burning out, the times you don't feel like doing something, just resort back to that why, man. Because it's that you made that why for a reason. It's bigger than you. It's bigger than the feelings that you currently have in that moment about not wanting to do something. So if you connect it back to that bigger purpose, you kind of it's almost like refilling the tank of motivation. It's like, I remember why I'm doing this now. There we go. And it helps to get the wheels turning again. So that was huge for me, is figuring out my why. And really just kind of get over a lot of like self-limiting beliefs that whether I had told myself over the years based off of what people's impression of me was, they were like, oh, Matt, well, you're a good detail-oriented person. You should be an analyst, or, you're a good detail.
Oh, right. Oh, dude. I like that shit, dude. Like literally, I have this story I love to share. Like, I like to share the story of Ken and David. David is a fictional character. Ken is a real friend of mine. Big shout out to Ken Conklin. So like Ken Conklin, he's 21 years old. He's wanted to follow his passion. All he wanted is to drink champagne, make backflips off of yachts, and like hang out with models. Like that's what he wanted to do. And he basically grabbed his camera and figured out sort of digital marketing and committed himself to learning that shit. Moved to Hawaii and like lived his dream life and did that full time. You know what I mean? And I love that. And so then there's so many people like the person you just described. Hey, you're good at this. You should do X, Y, Z. And so story of David, right? David grew up very articulate, like he's good at speaking. So what is his parents and everyone says, hey, you're good at talking. You should be a lawyer. So people keep telling him, you should be a lawyer. You should be a lawyer because you talk well. Shit. Dude goes to law school for 6 years, hates it, right? Like takes all these tests and pushes himself through this experience to then like graduate and pass the bar or whatever. And then as soon as he starts to work, like, everybody congratulates him, graduation, yay, right? You're a success. Finally, we're so proud of you, right? And then he has this career ahead of him with clients he doesn't love. doing this, doing a practice he doesn't love, and all of that to make somebody else feel proud, his parents proud, which is great. Like, it's a great motivation, wonderful. And geez, if David had realized that, more than being proud, his parents want to be happy and want him to be happy, so like there's a higher level of vibration that he could have tuned in from the start, without having to have a career and an entire life set up to fail, really,
Right, and I bet his parents would have been proud of him no matter what he did too.
Exactly, and two, like, even I like to believe that every parent wants their children to be happy and proud and whatever. And there's some people who, who are terrible parents, So like, what I will say is like I feel like true happiness is when you can, looking through your own eyes, looking at your own actions through your own values, like find out like this is the right thing for me. And I don't need anyone else's approval, permission, judgment, whether good or bad. I'm just like, this is my path, having that level of certainty from the inside out. And I think that is where you become unfuckwittable. When you know your purpose, your vision, why you want, what you want. And you're literally, in that sense, you're a self-sustaining unit of freaking creation, contribution, and growth. And like, I feel like that's kind of the holy grail. And then from there, from there, yeah, we can make a lot of people have happy feelings, But yeah, I like to share that story because whenever like anybody tells you, hey, you should X, Y, Z, that should stay. Like, should fucking fuck that shit, like shoulds are just like killing the energy of wants and creations and desires and intrinsic motivation, because should implies that there's something that we have to do, and that there's an external authority who's in charge of what it is that we get to do,
Right.
And I believe that for the longest time, we've put our authority maybe in the government, in the news, and our bosses, our employers, to make us happy or safe or whatever. And I feel like that's a big illusion,
Right.
I think it's a really big illusion because we have a lot of internal authority. We're way more powerful than we think we are, And of course, when we're children, we're taught to listen to our parents and all that stuff, or listen to our teachers. But at what point in life does that level of thinking not serve us anymore? I feel like as soon as we enter adulthood, actually, we get to be like, dude, this is my life. I get to create it, And,
exactly. If you're walking around with no purpose and you're walking around with no why, then I mean, no wonder you feel lost and you feel like, and so what I see happen so often, at least what happened in my case was, I mean, I didn't grow up with a silver spoon in mouth, or in hand or whatever. Like I grew up in a pretty wealthy, kind of suburb area. I was definitely not a part of the kids who were driving Range Rovers and Lexuses to school. And so I worked my tail off to get into college. I worked my tail to get through college, and I worked my tail to get into a Fortune 500 company. And what happened is when I got that job at the Fortune 500 company, what I noticed happened was that I had worked. And I just, really built this great work ethic. And then something happened when I got that job, and I was like, all right, I've made it. I'm going to get paid, I think it was like $49,000 a year, which, coming out of college at that point was
I remember that, dude.
I was so proud. I was so happy. And I was like, man, I haven't made it. Like, who else is 23 making this kind of money, right? And I was like, little did I know that's kind of, anyways, I digress. But yeah, man, like we just got to get out of our own way, and we've got to be vulnerable enough to ask tough questions to ourselves, like what do I want, and to be unapologetic and unashamed about that, because you want these things for a certain reason, and sometimes it's good to maybe peel that back and understand what those real desires are and why you want it. But more importantly, you got to call it out first. And so that's what I noticed, man. Whenever I had the days that I was burning out and the days that I was just hating life, it's just because I felt like I was putting in all this work into something that wasn't going to in return benefit me, except in the form of getting a paycheck that hit my account once a month, right? So, all the work I was putting in all the time, I was actually building someone else's business.
For sure. Someone else's dream, yeah.
Running someone else's dream and offering them financial security. And so, really, it took me just kind of, really being vulnerable, dialing it back and saying, well, what is it that these people have that I don't? Because I need to get that so that other people can work for me. And other people, and so I thought, and I just kept trying to tell myself this narrative. And at the end of the day, nothing separates me from the people I was working with. They just did it. They put their
Yeah.
shoes on, they walked out the door, and they got boots on the ground. They did it right. And so, other than that, though, man, like that's where I was. Is once I realized that we all they put their pants on one leg at a time. I hate that saying, but it's so true. Like once I kind of realized, I was like, man, no,
Yeah.
I'm smarter than 3/4 of the people in this room right now, and no, like
Totally.
we were just not going to do this.
100%. And I love that so much. I feel like there's so much gold there. Like one of my superpowers growing up was like I was always around people who were sort of older than me, better than me, taller than me, and I thought at the time that was like my burden to carry or whatever. But now I can see how much of a gift it was. And we talked about this the other day because even though like I had like I had to accept sort of that I wasn't good enough, right? I had to, and we talked about limiting beliefs. I had to accept that I keep sort of not going to be suddenly 3 feet taller or whatever. Like I had to accept exactly where I was at and fucking go run with it anyway, and then have fun with it in the process. And so I did. And like I remember, like, and I think a lot of people can relate to this when we're working on corporate, we're talking about different business ideas every single day, like 365 business ideas like per year that we were just like talking about and not fucking doing anything about it, and it's and then in a lot of ways a lot of ways that's okay, but I think that finding your purpose is like your number. Like if you don't know what it is, it's like your number one priority right fucking now, because you can spend your entire life living somebody else's dream, somebody else's life, wasting good resources in your own life in somebody else's business, because there's actually a cost to the companies, the people that you're part of, when you're not aligned with your purpose. Because if you were, and doesn't mean necessarily starting your own business doesn't need to mean your purpose. You can be in your purpose and work with another team. That's fine, because you're just working towards another vision, like as a team. That's cool. So, but there's a cost to not being aligned to other people, because if like for example my example, right? I was a consultant in a global digital marketing agency working with big brands like Ford Motors and US Soccer and I don't know, big brands, it doesn't matter. And like I know my resume said that I was the perfect guy for the job, but my heart said I don't need to be fucking doing this. And so I showed up and I was operating at like 10% of my capacity every single fucking day. And even though it was sort of good enough to like not get fired, it was definitely not operating in my genius zone. And when you do, when you do find your purpose and you're fucking clear, like you start showing up, and the type of like literally like one of my things is helping people get clear on what the fuck they want. I just today had a call with someone, a new client, and so we were like I'm looking at the time. It's so funny because it's 11:34, and I remember just like an hour ago being on that call at. Was it an hour ago or maybe 2 hours ago? It was like something 34. We were 34 minutes into our call, and she was already super crystal clear on what the fuck she wants, why she wants it. She wants to have this community for like beating, I won't name her because it's like private, but like she wants to build this community for helping people break through alcoholism and addiction, specifically helping creatives. And she's starting today, she's building a community for others who want to launch their creative career, because she's an actor. She's a high-performing actor. And she had to overcome like the loneliness of alcoholism and like keeping it secret and all of that struggle. And so now she can be the shining light and the beacon as a successful actor who's battled like alcoholism and addiction for so many years, and like just letting one person know like that, hey, if they can realize that, hey, I have a problem at 18 years old versus realizing it at 80 years old, like if she all she does is helping that one person have that sudden insight and like make a slight change in their life, really, right? That would be so worth it, And so like arriving at that conclusion for her was absolutely life changing. Now it's different for everyone. I had to figure out what my thing is, and it's like I feel like there's also levels to it. It's like a peeling of an onion. It kind of like adjusts a little bit over years, so that you have to come back having that conversation with yourself or another person regularly. And honestly too, for myself, I know like having a coach or a mentor helped me so much, because like sometimes with finding your own purpose or finding your message for the world, or your why in 3 words, right? It's kind of like reading a label of a bottle from inside of the bottle. It's like to read. So like if you're in here and you're trying to see what the fuck's going on out there, it's very difficult to do. But for everyone else, it's like, dude, El Dorado, baby, you're El Dorado. You know what I mean? When you have that conversation. So,
Dude,
geez,
we gotta have people to check our blind spots routinely, man. Like we really do. I could get really cerebral. I can get in my head.
yeah, dude.
I mean, trust me. And so, and my head's a scary place to be. So it's really good to have those people that can really kind of watch your six. Check your blind spots and make sure that hey man, you said you wanted to do this. Did you really mean that? Because based off your actions lately, I haven't seen you put any effort into doing that. And so like if people to call you out, man, it sucks, but like again, like and I hate to sound like this, like I'm pointing everything back to a why, but it's when you get that why set in, man, if someone will come to you and be like, hey, you really said you wanted to sell 100 homes in the next 1,000 days. I haven't seen you call anybody over the last week. What's up, man? Do you really want to do that? And I'm like, you know what? You're right. And what happens if you don't have that why set? When someone tells you that, then you take it personally, and you're like, wait a second, are you calling me a liar? Are you saying that I'm not about my goals? Huh? Wait. So like you start to get defensive. But like if but when I realize that my actions and what I'm doing is not about me, it's about my goal, then I can say, man, I'm not. You're right. I am not doing the steps that it takes to get what I want to do. And so it's just reframing, man. And here's a cool one too. When we talk about like, and trust me, like I'm the number one person in the world who can get in my head about, well, but do I really want to do this? I kind of get fearful, or I'll make 101 reasons to not do something. But my coach Debbie, she actually, excuse me, she actually taught me this like last week. I don't know if you and I talked about this on the last call we had, but she said one thing I've started asking is, myself. I've started writing it down, and I ask the people around me every day is, what's the best mistake that you made today?
Oh, nice.
And I was like, that's so interesting. Like, and I started thinking about that. And she said, and what it does is it requires you to look back on the day. It requires you to take inventory of all the things that you kind of screwed up on. But it's not in the sense of looking at it as a failure. It's like, what's the best mistake I made? And so like, I might say something like, well, I knocked on 100 doors today, and I talked to this one lady who seemed really interested in selling her house. But then I got a little bit, I don't know, maybe I said something stupid. I don't know. Whatever it was. And then she kind of retracted, and she said that she would call me when she wanted to talk. And I'm just making up the situation on the spot. But like, we can kind of say, if you're not asking yourself in the frame of what's the best mistake I made today, you might look at that and go, man, I made a stupid mistake. What a bonehead I am. I'm never going to knock doors again. Right. And like, that's such a terrible thing to do. Instead, when you ask yourself, what's the best mistake I made today? You're really requiring yourself to almost give yourself credit, because what I've done is I've pointed out to myself, you know what? You knocked 100 doors today. And you know what? If you hadn't made this mistake, then you wouldn't have even had an opportunity to get one sale today, right? So
I love that. I love that so much. Like, what's the best mistake you made today? Because it implies that making mistakes is a good thing in the first place, and it is, because like you find truth, like you get data points, little nuggets of gold that's super valuable that you can use to grow. And
man, nobody can ever take that away from you. Like once you learn something, the lesson's there. Nobody can come up to you, open your brain up, pull that and strike that out and throw it away. Like it just doesn't work that way.
And on the flip side, like winning, like getting exactly what you want, right, is actually super temporary. Like that is actually super temporary. But like lessons are making you a higher quality person that nobody can take away from you. Brother, I love this conversation so much. We have to wrap in just a minute. How can people get in touch with you and dive deeper? And what are the type of things that you get involved with that people may want to join?
Yeah, man. So I'm currently building out my team right now. You can find me. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I'm about to start a YouTube channel coming up soon. But everything is at My Denver Realtor. Super simple. So the idea behind what my YouTube channel is going to be about is going to be focused on first-time home buyers And I'm going to be interviewing basically everybody that's going to come into contact, whether directly or indirectly, with you as a buyer. So I'm going to talk to mortgage lenders. We're going to talk to title people. We're going to talk to inspectors, appraisers, everybody basically who has a hand in the transaction of buying and selling real estate. And we're going to answer all the questions from basically the standpoint or the perspective of a first-time home buyer, and trying to get basically some feedback and education on things to look for, things to basically setting the expectation. And yeah, I mean it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. But yeah, if you have any real estate needs, if you're looking to buy, sell, or invest, I can help you out here in Colorado. I can help you out in Kansas City, and I can help you out in the state of Alabama.
Epic, so good. So what's like one nugget about investing like that people need to know right now?
Just do it. Right. So I mean, it's so hard to pay yourself first. It really, really is. Paying yourself first, I think, is one of like the key steps first steps that you have to do. And it's tough because, and what I mean by pay yourself is like pay your savings account. I don't mean go out and go buy a PlayStation 5. Like,
gotcha.
People might construe that differently, right? But yeah, man, it's where mortgage rates are at right now, and we won't turn this into a real estate seminar, but just like where mortgage rates are, just where the market is, and it's really hard to beat it. And if you have a home to sell, yeah, it's really hard. Not very many other times it would be better to sell a home right now. I mean, for instance.
Dude, maybe this should be a real estate investing seminar because I would be super interested in that.
Yeah, let's do it next time, man. I'm happy to share any information I have.
So, yeah, thank you so much for your time, brother. You heard it here first, guy. Matt English. He quit his job, his 6-figure career, launched his passion. Now he's a walking real estate seminar. so really appreciate your time, man. Super curious. I know we'll jam more on this. Highly recommend everybody to follow my boy Matt, my Denver realtor. He can help you out in Alabama, Kansas City, and the state of Colorado.
Yeah.
So pay yourself first. Find your why. Get support. Like, would you agree people should get some help?
Man. Yeah, get clear on what you want. Like, and don't be ashamed about it. And figure what that is. And then you've always heard that you're like you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Man, do some real homework and look at the people that you're hanging out with. Are they empowering you? Are they encouraging you? Are they sucking the life out of you? Because if it's the latter, man, you need to move on. You deserve better, and the people around you deserve better too. If someone's taking your energy out, that's less energy you have to provide to someone else and to help them become successful and move them in a positive direction. So yeah, man, it really is. You got to be intentional. You got to decide what you want, surround yourself with the right people, and just every day, just focus on that why and like, okay, this is what it's going to take. Work it backwards. Like if you want this, if you want this life here, then work it backwards and create the to-dos and get really, really systematic and scheduled and put it on your calendar and just go do it. Like there's no other way to do it. Nobody else is going to walk up and ask you if they can do your work for you.
Right. Just fucking do it. Awesome. Let's our next episode, we're going to talk about the real estate investing seminar. If you are interested in that, pop a comment somewhere here or reach out to my boy Matt directly or me, and we'll get him back on the books for this if there's enough interest. Yes, that sounds fun, dude. So much love to you, brother. Thanks for tuning in. If you guys have any insights or learned anything from this little live today, drop a hashtag insight and write down what your lesson is. What have you learned? So you further integrate the lesson, and 2, you share that value with somebody else who's watching this. So just do it. That's all I got. Peace.